Okay, let's get into this. We're looking at a really powerful 1991 Supreme Court decision from the Philippines. And it asks this pretty uncomfortable question, right? If you're just standing by while a brutal crime happens.
Are you guilty too?
Exactly.
In this case, it's about the Doctolero brothers, Ludovico, Conrado, and Virgilio. And it's just a masterclass, really, in separating criminal roles. You know, the difference between a principal offender, the person who actually wields the weapon, and an accomplice.
A person who just provides the aid.
Right. And that's our mission here, to figure out where the court drew that line.
And the facts of this case are, well, they're pretty grim.
They are. This all stems from a really shocking incident in Pangasinan back in 1970.
So the trial court found one brother, Ludovico, was the main guy, the principal offender.
In the murders of Epifania Escosio, Lolita de Guzman Oviedo, and also an 81-year-old man, Marcelo Doctolero.
And a young child was injured, too. An infant.
Yes. Jonathan Oviedo, just a year and a half old. Ludovico's two brothers, Conrado and Virgilio, they were convicted as accomplices.
But here's where it gets so interesting, right? The two versions of the story, they completely conflict.
Not at all. The prosecution argued all three brothers conspired. They attacked the house together with bulos.
A coordinated attack.
Exactly. But then you get Ludovico's defense.
Which was completely different. He claimed he acted entirely alone.
Totally alone. He said his blood boiled after an earlier fight. He claims he only killed Epifania Escosio after she hit him first.
Okay.
And he said he killed the elderly Marcelo Doctolero by mistake, you know, thinking he was someone else and that he was being attacked.
So that raises the huge question. I mean, if he's claiming it was all him, this one spontaneous act, then why were his brothers implicated at all?
And that's exactly what the Supreme Court had to untangle. The review focused mostly on Conrado, since Ludovico had withdrawn his appeal and Virgilio had passed away by then.
So the court's whole job was to decide if what Conrado did was more than just being there.
If it crossed the line into actual criminal assistance.
So what does that mean legally? Wait, hold on. So even if they didn't physically touch anyone, just throwing stones and shouting challenges is enough for a murder liability.
It sounds like a massive leap, I know.
Yeah. I mean, how did the court even justify that?
Well, the court really focused on the whole environment that they created. They affirmed that by throwing stones, hurling challenges, and just standing guard. While Ludovico was inside the house committing these brutal acts, they were providing what the court called material and moral aid.
Material and moral aid?
The court found it was basically impossible for them not to hear the screams or the sounds of the bolo.
Ah, so their presence, their deliberate presence, it gave Ludovico the cover he needed, the encouragement and reliance to go through with it.
Precisely. They were actively helping facilitate what they knew was an illicit, a fundamentally violent act.
So you don't even have to know the exact crime that's about to happen.
That's the critical point. The court made it clear you don't need to know the specifics of the crime to be an accomplice. You just have to know you're helping a serious crime take place.
And looking at the final judgment, the court did modify a couple of things. It shows how meticulous they were.
Right. For example, the injury to the child, Jonathan Oviedo. He required medical care for 15 days.
So they reclassified that charge.
They did, to less serious physical injuries.
Okay, and what about the financial part, the indemnity?
That was huge at the time. They increased the civil indemnity for the heirs of each of the deceased from 12,000 pesos to 50,000.
Wow, that's a really significant jump.
It was. It showed the court was moving to update its own case law, you know, to put a higher, more contemporary valuation on human life.
So when you pull it all together, you can see how the court just meticulously dissected intent and action and ruled that shared presence, that implied support, that is criminal assistance. It's such a powerful statement about group accountability.
I think the core lesson here for you, for anyone listening, is how those non-physical acts, providing moral support, creating a menacing atmosphere, can legally make you liable.
No.
You don't have to pull the trigger or swing the bolo to be held criminally accountable for what follows.
Which leaves us with the final thought, I think. A pretty provocative one. If the law holds that standing by during a physical attack is a form of moral aid, how do we apply that same principle of accountability today?
To conflicts in public spaces or
even to online harassment, especially when we make that choice to just stand by and watch